Whenever I make these, it reminds me of my time in Germany. I stayed with this beautiful family and they took me to my very first Christmas market. I had a huge mug of Glühwein, which is hot mulled wine with spices and cinnamon, and along with it, I had ginger cookies. So inspired by my trip to Germany, I'm going to show you how to make my ginger molasses cookies. So for this recipe, you'll need these ingredients: some flour, sugar, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, molasses, eggs, baking soda, cloves, salt, and butter. So before you get started, the most important thing, make sure the butter is room temperature, and the eggs, is because you want that butter and that sugar to just melt together, and that's what makes them easy to roll. So I'm going to use my KitchenAid mixer. I love this thing. And if you don't have one of these, that's fine. You can just use one of those handheld blenders, or you can do it by hand if you have an hour. And I have the paddle attachment. So start with half a cup of room temperature butter, and this is unsalted. And to the butter, add 2 cups of white sugar. Oh, there's my teaspoon. I was wondering where that was. This recipe makes about 55 cookies, which is why I'm adding an enormous amount of sugar, but you're just going to have to bear with it because it's basically like you're having a teaspoon of sugar. So beat these together on medium speed until they're nice and creamy. As you can see, this wouldn't work if you were using cold butter. What I've discovered is that you really have to have room temperature eggs. This recipe calls for 2 extra large eggs. Now, I could only find large eggs in the store. Do you think that's a small egg? Is this small? Or it looks like an egg. It's just like a normal, but I'm going to put in 3. So add your eggs one at a time. So scraping down your bowl in between. And now for the star ingredient, molasses. But not just any molasses, Grandma's. I guess she knows best. This one is called fancy, so it's not just like boring, it's fancy. So half a cup of molasses. Slow as molasses. Maybe that's where that term comes from. Like, is that what it means? Because Grandma's slower? Almost looks like chocolate. So I like to just wipe it down in between, just to make sure you've got all that sugar. Look at the gorgeous color. Okay, and now you'll need 4 cups of flour. So I like to fluff up the flour a little bit. So you want to add the flour in a little bit at a time on low, because you'll get flour all over your face. So before I add the last cup of flour, I like to add all the remaining spices and then add the flour in. So the first spice you'll need is cinnamon, so 2 tablespoons. And 4 heaping teaspoons of ginger. And a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. And 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. And 1 teaspoon of salt. And 1 tablespoon of baking soda. So before I add this last cup of flour with the spices, I like to give it a little bit of a whisk. So you'll find that it gets stuck a little bit, and that's okay. Now for the fun part. You need to take this and make a gazillion cookies. What I love about this is that you can literally roll the cookies right from the mixing bowl. So taking this adorable little cookie scooper, it's like the smallest one you can get, and just dust it with some flour. And I also like to dust my hands. So as you scoop it, you want to scrape it off the side. And then you'll always get the exact same size. And you're going to roll it in a little ball. And I roll it and a little bit of sugar. It's like kicking around a ball in the snow. It's such a comforting feeling, seeing them fall into that sugar. And this is what gives it that crunchy coating. It really makes a difference. And try not to push them, you're just barely touching them, delicately. And just put them there. Just giving it a little dusting of snow. I think adding candied ginger to these cookies just makes them so incredible. I found this sweet little box of crystallized stem ginger, and it's delicious. Look inside. So I'm going to take a few and cut it up into little pieces. Got myself a Christmas knife. So they don't have to be perfect. We're just cutting them up in little pieces, and we'll use them to decorate the cookies. And now add that little candied ginger on top. So it's really important that you don't overbake these, because if you overbake them, they turn into hockey pucks. If that happens to you, you can just put them in a bag, crush them up, and sprinkle them on a cake. So 385 for 12 minutes. I found this little gingerbread man at a thrift store. Someone threw him away. I just felt so bad for him. And now he lives on my tree. They have the most amazing little cracks on the top. And when they come out of the oven, I like to put them on a cooling rack. Okay, I'm ready to try one. And the top, it's nice and soft. And that little piece of ginger, it's stuck on there so well. So good. A little bit of crunch on the bottom, and nice and chewy on the inside. And that molasses is just amazing. These definitely remind me of Germany. It's hard to eat just one. I hope I brought a little bit of German Christmas markets to you. Bye! So before you get started, make sure your butter... Whoop! Forgot to lock it. We're from the Glühwein. Let me know when. I think I lost a quarter cup on the... I haven't added any of the spices. This doesn't sound like a relaxing show at all. I did it again. The circus show. Are you coming in for the close-up?